You just walked off a job site for the last time, and your former boss is suddenly dragging his feet on your final check. You're sitting in your driveway, looking at an empty bank account, and your phone is lighting up with text messages from your landlord. You did the work, you put in the hours, but the guy signing the checks decided you don't get paid today. He might claim you quit without giving 2 weeks' notice. He might say you broke a tool, or that he needs to wait until the end of the month to process your money. He is banking on the fact that you don't know any better, and that you'll just give up after a few angry phone calls. Ignoring this isn't an option, because the cost of doing absolutely nothing is brutal and immediate. Imagine going to the grocery store and watching your card decline over a box of cereal. Think about the power company shutting off your lights because your former boss decided he needed a few extra days of cash flow. Your rent comes due on the 1st of the month, and your landlord isn't going to care that your old employer is playing games. If you miss your car payment, the bank will send a tow truck to your house in the middle of the night. The bank doesn't care about your excuses. The repo guy definitely doesn't care. When your boss holds your final paycheck hostage, he is putting a giant target on your truck, your apartment, and your daily groceries. He is forcing you to float a loan you never agreed to, and it will wreck your life in a matter of days. He expects you to just accept this massive loss and walk away. You won't walk away because the law is completely on your side. The moment you do the work, you earn the money. When a job ends, whether you quit, whether you get fired, or whether you get laid off, the rules change immediately. Most states have extremely strict laws dictating exactly when a final paycheck is due. Sometimes you're legally owed your final pay immediately, right on the spot, or within 72 hours. Other times, the boss has to cut the check on the next regular payday. This varies wildly depending on where you live, so you need to look up your specific state rules. We need to understand a critical legal term right now. We call it an employer withholding wages. Withholding wages just means the boss refuses to hand over money you already earned. Employers do this all the time. They'll make up a rule on the spot, claiming they can hold your check for 2 weeks because you didn't give proper notice. That's almost always a complete lie. Your boss can't invent a new company policy just to punish you for leaving. If you worked Monday through Wednesday, you get paid for Monday through Wednesday. It's really that simple. Another huge trap is the broken equipment penalty. Let's say you drop a company phone in a puddle and your boss says he's taking the cost of a new phone straight out of your last check. He'll just deduct $500 from your wages. Deduct means to subtract money directly from your earnings. In many states, an employer absolutely can't legally deduct money for broken or lost equipment from your paycheck without your specific written permission. He can ask you to pay for the phone, and he can take you to court over the damaged property if he wants, but he usually can't just unilaterally reach into your earned wages and take it out himself. If he does, he might be violating state law, even if you actually broke the phone. Your hard work and his broken equipment are treated as two totally separate buckets of money under the law. You're probably wondering how you actually force his hand without hiring an expensive attorney. The secret weapon for ordinary workers is a government agency called the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor is a state or federal agency that enforces labor laws and handles workplace disputes for everyday people. Filing a wage claim with the Department of Labor means you submit a formal complaint to the government, and the government investigates your employer for free. You don't need a fancy lawyer to file a wage claim. You don't need a giant retainer fee. You just fill out a form detailing the hours you worked and the money you're owed. When the state labor board calls your boss, things change incredibly fast. Bosses will completely ignore your text messages, but they'll immediately panic when a state investigator calls the company. Give them the dates you worked. Give them the exact dollar amount. Give them the date you were fired or quit. Give them the date you asked for the check. Don't write a giant 10-page novel about how much you hate your manager. Don't write paragraphs about the daily drama on the job site. The investigator doesn't care about office politics or personal insults. They only care about the math. Show them the math, and they'll do the rest. You might still be asking yourself if it's actually worth the hassle of fighting over a couple $100. It's absolutely worth it. When an employer gets reported to the state for unpaid wages, the state doesn't just look at your specific situation. They often look at the entire company's payroll history. If your boss did this to you, he's probably doing it to the new guy next week. He's probably doing it to the guy who quit last month. The labor board will eventually find out he's stealing from everyone, and the fines will completely bury him. You stepping up protects everyone else working at that company. You should also know about the strict deadline to act. We call this a statute of limitations. A statute of limitations is a strict legal deadline that completely destroys your right to sue or file a claim if you wait too long. For unpaid wages, you usually have 1 to 3 years from the date the check was supposed to be handed over. If you wait past that deadline, you lose your money forever, and the government won't lift a finger to help you. Time is absolutely not on your side here. If your boss owes you a massive amount of cash, like several $1,000s in back pay, it might be time to talk to an attorney who specializes in employment law. An employment attorney can file a formal lawsuit in civil court. A lawsuit takes much longer than a state wage claim, but it carries a lot of weight. A demand letter from an actual law firm makes the owner realize he's playing with fire. The lawyer will look at your evidence and tell you exactly what the claim is worth and whether it makes sense to pursue. If the boss owes you for a few $100 of missed overtime, the state wage claim is usually the fastest and cheapest way to get it back. Overtime means the legal requirement to pay workers 1.5 times their normal hourly rate for any hours worked over 40 in a single week. If he withheld your overtime pay because he claims you're a manager and don't qualify, the state investigator will look at your daily job duties. They don't care about your fancy job title. They care about whether you actually supervise people or if you're just doing manual labor. The investigator will make the final call on your overtime. You also need to be prepared for the boss to lie to the investigator. He might claim you never showed up for your shifts. He might tell the state that you abandoned the job site. This is exactly why you need your time cards, your clock and receipts, and your text messages. The investigator sees this exact type of lying every single day. They know the playbook. When you show up with actual documents and the boss shows up with verbal excuses, the investigator will side with you. Hard evidence beats a loudmouth boss every single time. You've the exact playbook to fight back right now. You don't have to sit in your driveway and accept a massive financial hit because a guy with a bigger truck decided to break the law. You do the work, you get the money, and you make the government enforce it if he refuses. You use the system to protect your apartment, your truck, and your family from his greed. It takes a little bit of paperwork, but it's incredibly empowering to force a crooked employer to pay up. Has a former boss ever tried to hold your check hostage, and how fast did they fold when you mentioned the labor board? Drop your story in the comments below. If this breakdown armed you with the tools to demand your stolen wages, share this video with a buddy stuck fighting a shady employer right now. Make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the actual rules before a deadbeat boss tries to play games with your hard-earned cash.